Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today we are talking about Krishna consciousness. The idea is, or the subject is, that Krishna consciousness is an inside job. Krishna consciousness. Now, when the police talk about an inside job, they have a different meaning. When they say, if somebody works at a big corporation or a company or even a small store, if there's money missing from the account, if there's money missing from the cash register, or if some goods are stolen from the warehouse, if the police find out, if the police suspect that it's somebody who's working in that institution or in that company or in that business who has been taking from that business, then they call it an inside job, that they're stealing from the company. But that's not what we mean. We mean that Krishna consciousness can be taken as an outside job or an inside job. And the consensus seems to be, from devotees that I speak to, that we have all these activities in Krishna consciousness. You get up early, you take a shower, you go, you attend Mangalartik, you go to Srimad Bhagavatam class, you have Tulsi Puja, so many. So, and then you take prasadam, and then you go out and you do book distribution, so many activities. They're the activities of the mind, the activities of the body. And the idea is, the way I was taught in Krishna consciousness when I lived with devotees for 10, 12 years, before the guru business became popular, is that then, of course, I separated myself because that's called a hoax or a scam. Without having, one has to be empowered to be a guru. I have read in the Nectar of Devotion that only Srila Prabhupada writes that only a conditioned soul, that a conditioned soul cannot liberate another conditioned soul. It's not possible. It simply means either they don't understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, perhaps they haven't read the books, the GBC and the so-called gurus. Perhaps they haven't read Srila Prabhupada's books yet, but the idea is that a person can introduce you to Krishna if he has a personal relationship with Krishna. The process is that by intimate association with a pure devotee, as is explained in so many cases and places in our books, if we have intimate association with a pure devotee, the devotional demeanor, the devotional quality in their heart can be transferred to our heart. As Srila Prabhupada writes in the 10th canto in one purport, that initiation is the beginning of a heart-to-heart relationship. In that very purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that unless one is initiated by someone who carries always the Supreme Lord within his own heart, such a disciple cannot acquire the power to carry the Supreme Lord within his own heart. So what is the power that enables one to carry Krishna within their heart? The power is love. With that, because Krishna, if we go to chapter Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 2, is written that Krishna accepts only the love with which things are offered to him. And because Krishna doesn't need anything that we have to offer. But it's also explained why. Even I was reading in Chaitanya Bhagavat by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, that Lord Nityananda, who is Balaram himself, Lord Nityananda, and Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. Just like when Ramchandra came, he had his brother Lakshman, that is Krishna and Balaram, taking the role of, of Lord Ramchandra and Balaram. And when Lord Chaitanya comes, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna and Lord Nityananda is Balaram. So in different incarnations, but that same relationship is always there. But Lord Nityananda, he has a loving feeling always towards Lord Chaitanya. And Lakshman, he has a loving feeling towards Lord Ramchandra. And Balaram, he has this loving feeling towards Krishna. So even that Krishna's pure devotees, who are also simply expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are Vaishnavas. The reason that Krishna is explained, why Krishna has created all of us, is because he likes to be loved. That's what he likes, and that's what he wants. And unless the love is there, so how do we carry Krishna within our heart? You have to capture Krishna. We have to capture Krishna. And we can only capture Krishna with our love. Then he appears within our heart. To that degree. Oh, it's starting to rain outside. So, in other words, it's not the activities of Krishna consciousness that are as important as the consciousness with which we perform those activities. It's not the activities of Krishna consciousness that say one can do this for one can do this for 10 years, one can do this for 20 years, 30 years, 100 years, or one can do this for 1,000,000 lifetimes. It's not the activities that one day we get some kind of reward, that the spiritual world opens up to us, that we're blessed with some revelation. It's not the activities. It's the consciousness with which the activities are performed. We have to understand that in a very sober way. Otherwise, a person can be mechanically doing his sadhana for 1,000 births, and nothing is going to change. We have to begin to understand that. Krishna consciousness, a robot can chant 16 rounds perfectly. Srila Prabhupada says, he compares in one talk, he says that a parrot can be trained to chant Hare Krishna. It's true. A parrot can be trained to chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari, Hare Rama. A parrot can be, he says, Srila Prabhupada says, but when the cat comes and grabs the parrot by the neck, then Krishna is forgotten by the parrot. Instead of Hare Krishna, the parrot goes like that. He says, so when death comes, the whole process of Krishna consciousness, well, there's more to it than that. But the one important is that our consciousness at the time of our death determines our next birth. Are we born in the spiritual world? Are we born in the material world? So if at the time of death, if we've been chanting Hare Krishna mechanically, when death comes, takes us by the neck, we won't be able to say Krishna. We will automatically be all the things that we're attached to in our material conception of life. That's what will be uppermost in our mind, uppermost in our heart. How do we arrive at the position where so Krishna consciousness is not a question of joining a religion. It's not a question of joining a movement. It's not a question of having a membership of anything. Those things are not bad. They can be helpful, but they won't help us. They won't help us at the time of death. Or you can say when the Yamadutas come and drag the soul out of the body, drag my soul out of the body, I'll say, but I'm a member of this or that organization. They say, never mind, come on. So we have to understand that Krishna consciousness is not a religion. It's a science. And the science means there's a way in which we go about it. Science means that there are laws, how it all works, how one becomes a real devotee. And one does not become a real devotee by mechanically engaging in the activities of Krishna consciousness. Nothing will change.
Okay.
So, what is the real process? So, why is Srila Prabhupada, what is all this business about Brahmin initiation? What is it all about? Why, why, why do we have to, what is this sacred thread? You can buy the thread at the store for 25 cents or $1, whatever. There's so much inflation today that soon the price will go up. When I was a young boy, for 5 cents you could buy a chocolate bar. Today, the same chocolate bar, it costs $1. If the price went from 5 cents to 10 cents, that would be 100% inflation. But it's gone from 5 cents since I was a child till now it's $1. That's 2,000% inflation. What does this mean? It means that the people who run the government are thieves. When they run out of money, they print more money, paper. And then the value of the money in your bank account goes down. It says you could have your life savings and it's losing its value 2,000%. So it's just like they're putting a hand into your bank account and taking out everything. So this is the material world, of course. Everyone is a cheater. Everyone is cheating. We're all cheaters because our love is meant for Krishna, for God. But we are trying to be happy in a different way. And we're trying to be happy independently. So this is a dishonesty because actually, like we say, Rishikesh. Who is Rishikesh? Rishikesh, I have all these senses. Yes, I have eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, touch, hearing, everything. And I want to use them for my enjoyment. Isn't this natural? Every month I receive a new invitation from some credit card company, and they say, now you can take our credit card and you can have everything that you like. You deserve it. What they want to do is put you in debt so that you'll pay interest for the rest of your life. I have there's a young man, he works at the local hardware store. And he's repairing some equipment that I have. High wheel trimmer. I have a big backyard. I have 50 acres here. So in the meadow in the back of the house. So I have to knock down the grass so that you don't step on a snake sometimes when you're walking across the field. So I was talking to the young man, and he had some family troubles, and he left his family, and he left his city, and he came to this city where I'm living, Silver City, and has the whole thing to get extricated. $10,000 he's in debt on the card. So if you look up, so he can only pay the minimum monthly payment, $200. And it says that if he makes the minimum monthly payment, it will go on for some 15 years. And over that period of time, he'll have paid $25,000 to the company for a $10,000 loan. So it should be against the law that they can charge such, but their whole business is to entice everyone. Now you deserve it. So why do people do it? To enjoy their senses. But whose senses are they? Rishikesh means the owner of our senses. Krishna is Rishikesha. He is the owner of our senses, but we want to use them for ourselves. So that's embezzlement. That's cheating. That so we have to pay when a criminal is apprehended by the law. They're put in prison. So we are also in prison. We're in this prison house of the material world. And what is the conditions of being in that prison house? That we have to undergo. We have to undergo the process of birth, old age, disease, and death. Birth after birth after birth. That is the prison conditions. All because we are wanting to use what is not our property, what is Krishna's property. These are Krishna's senses given to us for the purpose of engaging them in Krishna's pleasure, in Krishna's enjoyment, but we want to use them for ourselves. So we are thieves. We're criminals. And I read that today that a lecture by Srila Prabhupada, a transcript, that the whole material world is meant for suffering. Krishna created it for suffering. He said from the topmost planet to the lowest planet in the whole material creation, all of them are places of misery. Abrahma Bhuvana Loka. From the topmost planet to the lowest planet, all are places of misery where repeated birth and death take place. So we want to enjoy our senses. This is an outside job, an external job. I am not this body, but I'm trying to enjoy this covering that over my real self, that I'm spirit soul. I'm trying to enjoy these senses and the prices that I have to repeat in the cycle of birth and death. So what is this Brahminical culture all about? Brahminical culture, just like I was living for a very short time on one devotee. He was making a development somewhere. I think it was in Arizona. No, was it Arizona? I forget which. Anyways, he invited me to come there, and there was one man who could run a backhoe, and the people who had sold him the land, he had a contract that you can live here on this land, but you can't make a road over here to get back to the highway. And they agreed. But the devotee, he thought he doesn't have to follow the contract. So he had one boy working there, one man, and he could run a backhoe. He was a Sudra type of man, a laborer. He could work a backhoe, and he said, if I do this, if I push this earth for you, will you give me Brahmin initiation? And because the president, this man, this devotee, he wanted to have that illegal road, he said, yes, I will make you a Brahmin. The man is not a Brahmin. He's a backhoe worker, but uh, but he's promising him to make him a Brahmin. So we have to understand what is real Brahminical life. Brahminical life means that one ascends to the mode of goodness. Sattva-gun. The mode of goodness is described by in Bhagavad Gita. The mode of goodness is described. What is the very first quality of the mode of goodness? The very first quality of the mode of goodness is that a person becomes peaceful. Samodamastapashocham shantirarjavameva cha. Bhagavad Gita 1842. In the mode of goodness, one becomes peaceful. He becomes, what does that say? Yeah, the mode of goodness elevates one. Bhagavad Gita 1851 to 53 is described. The process of the mode of goodness elevates one to the Brahma Bhuta platform. What is that? 1854. Brahma Bhuta prasanatma na sochati na kangshati. Prasanatma, it means joyful inside. And because he's joyful inside, what is the outside? Na sochati na kangshati. His material desires fall away, and he doesn't lament over losing anything material. This is the Brahminical platform. There's no chance of advancing in Krishna consciousness until one comes to the Brahminical platform. A person cannot be pursuing the objects of senses, the objects of the senses, the desire for sense gratification, and be devotional. They're mutually exclusive. Only a person who learns how to be satisfied within his heart, Krishna says, Brahmabhuta prasanatma na sochati na kangshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu Mad bhaktim labhate param. Now you can become a bhakta. Now you can become a devotee. He's joyful, prasanatma, within his heart. When a person is joyful, he automatically becomes a loving person. Person has to be happy within himself before he can wish happiness on another person. What is love? People don't know what love is. Love is not the symptoms of that are described in the nectar of devotion. There's a difference between the symptoms. Uh, One person, he has eyes are kind of flooding with tears. He has trembling in his body. He has shivering in his body. His voice is choked up. He These are symptoms of the topmost love. But what is that love? It's a desire, nothing more than a desire to give happiness, to give pleasure to Krishna. That is what love is. The desire to be of benefit to another instead of needing to take, to have, to, to exploit. Love is the opposite. Love is wanting to give. That's what love is. A person can be on that platform in the neophyte position of Krishna consciousness, wanting, how can I please? What is an arctic ceremony? You get up and you're offering some nice incense to the deities. And then you're offering a camphor burning, and then a ghee lamp offering, and then offering water. What is that? To bathe Radha and Krishna. It's a meditation. We're bathing Radha and Krishna, huh? Bathing our spiritual master, yes? Bathing Lord Chaitanya. And offering a towel to dry them very nicely. It's not it's the consciousness with which it's done. But in order to have the desire that this should be pleasing to the person that we're serving, that desire is called love. And when that love is there, then there's a sense of reciprocation. Then the sense of reciprocation begins. So it's the consciousness. It's an inside job. But before one can, a sense gratification is an outside job. Desire to give, to be of service. Desire to be of love, to love. That's what love means. To want to be pleasing, to give pleasure to another being. That's what love is. Even in the material world. If one comes to the mode of goodness, instead of wanting to exploit, having a business and wanting to pay people as little as possible and make as much money, a profit as possible, this is taking, this is exploiting. But if one comes to the mode of goodness and wants to open a hospital for people, who don't have money for hospital, who open an educational institution for people so that they can learn, to put clothes, make clothes available to people who need clothes, to have food distribution for people who need food. It's not what desire, it's not looking for my pleasure through exploiting, it's looking for my pleasure, for helping, for making others happy. So that is the beginning of a serving mood. That becomes into focus as one transfers himself from the mode of passion, which is about taking, to the mode of goodness, which is about giving. then one can transfer that mood to Krishna. Until that feeling is present in one's heart, he can't adopt a devotional demeanor. Therefore, to become a devotee, one has to be elevated from the modes of passion and ignorance to the mode of goodness. That's what Brahminical life is for. It's not for having a badge. It's not for having a higher rank in an institution. It's not a status symbol. I'm a Brahmin. It's not anything like that. It's for the developing a serving mood. It's for learning how to be peaceful and content. Mana Prasada, 1717, Bhagavad Gita. Mana Prasada, 1715. Serenity within the heart. This is Krishna says in 1717 that one who develops this serenity, this satisfaction of the mind within himself, this person, Krishna says in 1717, this is the austerity of the mind in the mode of goodness. This is the austerity of the mind in the mode of goodness, learning how to be satisfied within our own heart. Only such a person, Krishna says in 1854, Mad Bhaktim Lapate, only such a person can become a devotee. So, first, to develop the mode of goodness, this is an inside job. It's not about doing all our activities. And why does Srila Prabhupada use this word rubber stamp? If you go through customs, you go to travel to another country and you show your passport and the man looks at your passport and he stamps it with a rubber stamp. It's official. It's official. It's an official endorsement. But Srila Prabhupada says you cannot rubber stamp devotional service, that I have done this for Krishna, rubber stamp. I have done that for Krishna, rubber stamp. It's not official that I have a checklist of things to do, and I did this, and I did this, and I did this, and now I stamp them as devotional service. It doesn't make them devotional service. What makes them devotional service is how much we have devotion in our heart. It's not by doing them that one day we'll be blessed with devotional service. It's by doing them with a sincere desire to be of pleasure to our spiritual master and Krishna. Proportionately, there's revelation. Proportionately, there's revelation. That is Krishna's. So, and then as we talk about every time that we try to give a class, one cannot feel the presence of Srila Prabhupada until they're in the mode of goodness. You can't. Srila Prabhupada is the external manifestation of the Lord in the heart. Srila Prabhupada is not another man walking on the planet. Srila Prabhupada is a Shaktavesha avatar. Srila Prabhupada was never a conditioned soul. Srila Prabhupada came to this planet from the spiritual world. Srila Avatar, when God descends, when Krishna comes into the material world, that is called an avatar, one who descends. One of the categories of avatar is when Krishna empowers. when Krishna empowers one of his confidential associates to take the role of God. That is who Srila Prabhupada is. He's called a Shakta Vaishavatar. We sing every morning, Shakshad Hari Tvena Samasta Shastrar Uktas Tatapa Vyataiva Sadhi Kintu Prabhoja Priyaiva Tasya Bande Guru Shri Charanharavindam. It's acknowledged in all the revealed scriptures that a real spiritual master is the Shakshat Hari. He is empowered with the Shakti of Krishna. Shakshat, and that's why, and someone who is not empowered by Krishna taking the role of spiritual master, they should be slapped. This is called fishing. This is called a scam. They cannot help anybody. They cannot even help themselves. They're falling down as fast as they're appointed. And those who are not falling down, what they cannot do anything for either they don't understand the Krishna conscious philosophy, or they don't want to know because they want to be a guru. I have seen video where these ISKCON people, they're washing their gurus' feet with milk and honey and drinking. I've seen that. How can a person allow other devotees? He's a neophyte devotee. He's a kanista adhikari. He's having trouble maintaining the principles. I'm hearing about them, how they're falling down. My God brothers, so to speak. And they're playing the role that they're a spiritual master. And that people should drink the milk and honey for washing my feet. How could it take such a position? It must be one thing. They want the pratishta. The word pratishta, this desire for adoration and distinction. This is the most, in Shastra, in spiritual, it is explained in our books, in all the Shastric books, that the strongest desire of all of our anarthas is this desire to have this adoration and distinction. It's the strongest desire. And people are pretending that they're a devotee and other people should worship them. Why? They're coveting Krishna's position. They're coveting Srila Prabhupada's position. So this is a sickness. This is called the spiritual sickness. Not only they cannot take their so-called disciples to Krishna Loka, they cannot go themselves to Krishna Loka. But the offense to Srila Prabhupada, I've just read in Chaitanya Bhagavat, the most worst offense that anyone can make, the most terrible offense. You can offend Krishna. You can offend the Supreme Personality. We're all offensive to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We're here trying to be number one. We're here trying to be a special person. It's all right. We're all nonsense. But fools and rascals. Even at the cost of repeating in the cycle of birth and death, we're continuing. The whole material world is to break down that pride. That's why we're here. That we're in therapy. The miseries of the material world are therapy. That they're just like You let somebody puts their hand in the fire, ouch, it burns. When I worked when I left the movement and I worked for a bank, there was on the somebody put on the notice board, "Are we having fun yet?" This is Krishna's question to all of us. Are we having fun yet? Trying to be Krishna? Are we having fun yet? No. So anyway, so we're here to learn to become humbled. And those who are responding to the therapy, they're looking for answers. How do we, what is the solution to all of this? So so Krishna, he understands. Krishna understands our heart because he's present in everyone's heart. And when somebody is responding to the therapy of being, Maya says, come on and enjoy, and then slap. Every time we try to enjoy, it makes pain for us. So that's Maya's job. She's also working in this insane asylum that we call the material world. It's for crazy souls who want to think that just like you go to an insane asylum and somebody says, "Oh, I'm Alexander the Great." And the one beside him says, "Well, I'm Napoleon." And another one is somebody else. Another one is Donald Trump. So they all think they're wonderful, such great, powerful people. So, but they cannot save anyone from the process of birth and death, and they can't save themselves. So, the spiritual master, he is sent to this material world because Krishna understands that soul that is responding to this stringent laws of material nature, responding to the 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 the, the heartache. No matter how good you make it in this world, you can't keep it. Elon Musk, he's the richest man on the planet, so I hear. When he dies, death can come at any moment. Will he be able to take one penny with him? Not a penny, nothing. So then he'll be judged according to his life and he'll receive his karma. So, so the real spiritual master, he's sent here by Krishna and he's empowered in a special way. Shakti-avesh avatar is a form of God who is empowered, a confidential, intimate associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's empowered to take the role of the all-pervasive super soul. The bona fide spiritual master is the external manifestation of Krishna within our heart. He has that power. That's why he's called Jagat Guru. He can have a personal relationship with all the souls in the universe. If they're ready to approach him, he's available. And he can, because he plays the role of the all-pervasive super, all of us can have, should have, must have a personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada. We must, because there's no other way to approach Krishna. Just like you go to a man who is the CEO or the president of a big corporation, multinational corporation that has holdings all over the planet, different departments and branches, a multi-billion, trillion-dollar business, and you want to see that person. You can't see that person. But if you know his secretary, If you know the man who sits in the just outside of that big person's office, and he is the receptionist, and he's welcoming people, please have a seat, Mr. So and so, he'll be with you. And do you have an appointment? What time is what is your name, sir? You'll sit over here and we'll call you. Uh, so if we have a very nice relationship, intimate relationship with Krishna's pure devotee, he can open the door. No one else. Krishna says in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, one who declares himself to be my devotee is not my devotee, but one who's the devotee of my devotee. He's the devotee. We have to find out who is Krishna's pure devotee, and have an intimate relationship with him. Not only he can open the door to Krishna Loka, but, excuse me, not only he can open the door, but there's no other way to learn what is love of Krishna. There's no other way to learn what is love of Krishna, and this is not new. Devotees all over the world singing every morning, Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoite, Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoite, Avidya Vinashayate, Prema Bhakti Yaha. What does it mean? Have to open our brain a little bit. From him, this love of Krishna emanates, like heat and light emanate from the sun, filling the universe. Love of Krishna emanating from him. And what is the next line? Avidya vinashayate. Avidya prema bhakti yaha hoite. Avidya vinashayate. From him, this love of Krishna emanates. He can share it with you. He can share it with me. And if we can catch it, that taste of it, in that way, all our ignorance is destroyed. Our desire for material enjoyment is destroyed, because when there is love of Krishna in our heart, there's no room for Maya. So this is science of Krishna consciousness. This only can be given by someone who has Premanjana Churita Bhakti Valochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokyanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. This can only be given, this Premanjana Churita, that his eyes are tinged with the salve of love. And that's why he can carry Krishna always in his heart. That's why he's always in touch with Krishna. We have to have, if we have a relationship, that is the prema bhakti that he is emanating from him. And by having an intimate relationship with him, that is the only way that it rubs off on us. There's a common English expression that you associate with somebody who has certain qualities, it rubs off on you. It means you get a taste of that attitude, of that demeanor, of that quality. Srila Prabhupada says, if you associate with drunkards, you become a drunkard. He says, in all the professions, they have the accountants, they have an organization for The lawyers, the doctors, they have their organization. By associating with people, you acquire those qualities. We have to associate 1525, Srimad Bhagavatam 1525. Srila Prabhupada writes, pure devotion is as much infectious. It's infectious in a good sense, like an infectious disease. You catch it from someone who has it. Srila Prabhupada writes this. Infection, same purport, means that in that association, you imbibe the taste of devotion. You get from them we have to be always in touch. Always in touch. Srila Prabhupada used the word fixed up. I have right on my desk over there 2 tubes, epoxy resin. You put the resin, you put 2 things together, they become fixed up. You can't pull them apart. We have to become fixed up in relation to someone who has love of Krishna. Just like in physics, in electricity and magnetism, that one piece of metal has a magnetic charge, and if you put another piece of metal that has no charge, by the force of induction, that charge is induced into the other piece of metal. Therefore, they have to be in proximity, fixed up. Then that energy, what is that energy? It's called devotional energy. It's the devotional energy by which one can approach. So that's how one, and he knows how much we're absorbing from him because he's in our heart. Therefore, in the 10th canto, Srila Prabhupada says that this initiation means to have a heart-to-heart connection with a pure devotee. A heart-to-heart connection. That's fixed up. Put some epoxy on your heart, connect it to Srila Prabhupada's heart, and live. Live on that platform. Can I do it? No. But I'm working on it every day. I'm trying to make it more consistent. It's the only time that one feels real satisfaction. When we feel Srila Prabhupada's association, when we sense Srila Prabhupada's love and enthusiasm. That's the Brahminical platform. The Brahmins are given a mantra. En Guru Davaya Vidmahi Krishna Daya Dhimahi. Dhimahi means meditate. On what? En Guru Davaya Vidmahi Krishnandaya Dhimahi Tanagaro Prachodayat. What are we meditating on? The enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness that he has, his love for Krishna. You meditate on that. That is the Brahminical platform. That is one of the mantras that is given to one who is becoming a Brahmin. And until one, as Srila Prabhupada says, unless one becomes, that is the mode of, only in the mode of goodness one can become able to do that their heart is clean enough. He says in Nectar of Devotion, chapter 12, association is like a crystal stone. Who says this? Hiranyakashipu. He's talking to his son, Prahlad, and he's telling him because he wants his son to become a big demon like himself. He says, association is like a crystal stone, meaning like a mirror. It reflects. Whoever you're in touch with, your heart will reflect like a mirror, we say cleansing the dust from the mirror of the mind. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Whoever we're in touch with, our heart will reflect their qualities. It's the law of nature. You can't avoid. So he said, therefore, one should have a relationship with a pure devotee. Then he says, but only one caveat, one condition has to, the heart has, before this process can take place, the heart has to be clean. The mirror, if it's not clean, how can it reflect? So, so we have to have that's the mode of goodness, clean heart. Na sochati na kankshati. No more hankering. I need this. I need this. But aside from the checklist, the heart is always yearning, always looking for something to satisfy, because we're not satisfied. Because no one in material consciousness can be satisfied. Because all the things that we want in material consciousness cannot affect the soul, the spirit soul. They're material and we're spirit. We're trying to get our side. That's why Krishna says this, what is it? Why Arjuna says, what makes people act so crazy in this world? It's in Bhagavad Gita. He says, what makes people like this, that they do coveting, because the Kauravas, the Kurus, Duryodhan and his 99 brothers, Arjun's brother, Maharaj Yudhisthira, he's supposed to be the king of the planet, and it's a family quarrel, and they're jealous. Their father passed away, Maharaj Pandu. In the it's a story, but so they're now Dhritarashtra. He's Pandu's brother. Pandu was was the king of the planet, emperor. Maharaj Dhritarashtra was his brother. So he's sitting on the throne now, and he wants his son to take over the whole. But actually, he's sitting on the throne, Maharaj Dhritarashtra, until the boys, Arjuna and his 4 brothers, headed by Maharaj Dhritarashtra, Maharaj Yudhisthira, until they grow up, then they should have the throne. But no, they don't want to give them the throne. They tried to kill them. Actually, they tried to kill them. They put them in a house. They said, what you really need is a vacation. You go to Varanavata, and there's a beautiful house there waiting for you. And they had a house built out of all flammable materials, and they were going to set fire to the house. That's what they wanted to do to Arjuna and his brothers. So Krishna said, so Arjuna says, what makes people like this? He asks Krishna, he's on the battle of Kurukshetra. He's going to do war with these people, with Duryodhan and company, who is trying to steal the throne from Arjuna's older brother, Maharaj Yudhisthira. He said, what makes people like this? And Krishna says, it is this lust, this self-centered desire. He says it burns like a fire. What is that fire? That means that the more you try to satisfy the fire by feeding it, is the fire satisfied? The flames get bigger. This is material life. The more we try to satisfy ourselves materially, the more our lust grows. A man becomes a president. He's not satisfied to be a citizen. He wants to be in the government. He's not satisfied to be in the government. He wants to be the president. He's not satisfied to be the president. He wants to conquer other countries. This is called, what is that? The word escapes me. But this is the history of planet Earth. All over the planet, different countries have taken control. Imperialism. Imperialism is the history of planet Earth. For you go back as far as history is recorded, the Greeks were conquering. The Romans are conquering. What is this conquering? It's not enough that we have what we have in our own country. We have to exploit what's in the other country. Not only exploit, let's make them slaves. This is lust. That the more we try to satisfy ourselves materially, the more we want. And then there's nothing we won't do. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that this is quote, the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. This lust. So this is the mode of passion, mode of goodness. We have to rise up. Then we can be satisfied inside. A person in mode of goodness is peaceful, samo. A person in the mode of goodness is manasaprasada. He's satisfied within his mind, within his heart. It's a quality of goodness. Then all of that grasping, desiring, thinking that it's in something outside of me, that if I can only get it, then I'll be happy. It's an insanity, a craziness. That goes away when we come to goodness. A person who's in that grasping, he cannot be devotional. His heart is too much busy. Well, how is it busy? He wants to find fault with everyone else. Why? He can put himself up by putting other people down. This is the mode of passion. The way to be the greatest person, I am the greatest, is to put everyone else down, to be envious. Envy. We're all envious of Krishna. That's why we're here. Imagine what a revelation. My whole life was full of trouble, and now I understand. I never knew anything like this until Srila Prabhupada, until reading and hearing from Srila Prabhupada, that we're all envious of Krishna. We're envious of God. We want that position for ourselves, all of us. So how to get over that? It's an inside job. We have to change the condition of our heart from passion and ignorance to goodness. In goodness, one finds because in goodness, it's still material, but a person in goodness, he finds his satisfaction inside himself, that madness of needing more and more and more. That fire goes out, it's extinguished. And now he's capable of associating with a pure devotee. Association is like a mirror or a crystal stone that it will reflect. His qualities will become present in our heart. Our hearts can reflect his qualities to what? Towards Krishna. Towards Krishna. We come in touch with the pure devotee. Prema Bhakti Ahoite. From him this love of Krishna emanates. It touches our heart, that emanation, and our heart, and can reflect it. Association is like a crystal stone, a mirror. We imbibe that taste of love. We imbibe that vibration from Srila Prabhupada, Prema Bhakti Ahoite, that emanates from him, and we reflect it towards Krishna. That's what opens the door to the spiritual world. There's no other way to get love of Krishna. He's selling love of Krishna. door to door, asking, please take, free. This is what Lord Chaitanya's mercy is. Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema. He's more munificent than any other avatar. He's freely giving this love of Krishna. Why don't I have it? Because I don't have a relationship yet with Lord Chaitanya's representative in disciplic succession, who's carrying this same love of Krishna. He's through the disciplic succession, Lord Chaitanya's mercy is being distributed. So for my heart, from him, this love of Krishna comes from Lord Chaitanya. It's written in our books, Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Lord Chaitanya put into the bodies of his pure devotees his own love of Krishna. Yeah, it's written. And this comes down by disciplic succession, this fruit of love of God. And we have to have a relationship. Then from him it emanates. And our heart is like a mirror that can reflect it to Krishna. But the mirror must be clean in order to reflect. Mode of goodness, clean heart. That is the mirror of the heart that has to be clean. So it's an inside job. It's not by doing this process, distributing a book, doing an Arctic ceremony, doing this, doing that, even chanting the holy name. As Srila Prabhupada said, if it's not done with this loving feeling that we get from Srila Prabhupada, then we're like the parrot who gets caught by the neck by the cat. At the time of death, we won't be able to chant with love because we haven't been cultivating love. So this is real Krishna consciousness. We have to, it's not about becoming a member of anything. It can be nice. We're talking about Krishna consciousness together. We help each other. We keep each other in that heart frame, in that mind frame of mind, frame of heart. Association is good. It's essential. 2 or 200, Srila Prabhupada says. But at least let there be somebody that we're in touch with. So Krishna, so we have to clean our heart, inside job, have a heart-to-heart relationship with the pure devotee, inside job, reflect that same love towards Krishna, inside job. And that's what we're talking about today, that Krishna consciousness is an inside job. Thank you very much.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we have 5 participants here, devotees from all over the world. We have Janice Spear from Hawaii,
Hare Krishna.
Sandeep Prabhu from Bangalore, and I think there's a devotee from America, Sri Radhe Devidasi. If anyone has any questions, comments regarding the discussion with Ishan Prabhu, which we heard, please feel free. It's time they can post a question, a comment.
Yeah, you can ask about anything you want.
Yes. Okay, go ahead, Sri Radhe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. He spoke about envy, that people find fault finding because they are envious, but those who are giving initiation, who are gurus, who are representing Srila Prabhupada, who are saying we're Ritwiks, and they give initiation to other disciples so they can represent Srila Prabhupada. But if they always fault find and then they give classes and they preach and they find fault finding and they don't listen to anybody else other than Prabhupada. Though they say that, they claim that, but they put other people down, they bully other, and they in classrooms they pretend like they're they're leaders, they're gurus, whatever. It's like, how do you find out if they're envy or fault finding? Like, if someone finds fault, does that mean that they're envy?
Well, my understanding of our philosophy is that the more a person advances in spiritual life, like a pure devotee, it's hard for us to imagine because we're all very mostly beginners. I'm a neophyte devotee. I'm a Prakrita Bhakta, materialistic devotee. I still identify with my body as me. And I have material desires. I'm cultivating little Krishna consciousness. But we read and we understand that a pure devotee actually feels, it's hard for us to understand, but a pure devotee actually feels in his heart that everyone is more of a devotee than me. He thinks that everyone is serving Krishna except me. So then it's not possible for him to find fault with anybody. He only finds fault with himself. Of course, it's not black and white. It's not like a switch on the wall that it's either on or off. There's a whole spectrum of advancement. Gradually, we become more purified, more purified, more purified. But so as a person, as they advance, that this fault finding is just it's a symptom. It's a symptom of a lack of purification. A person who is really spiritually beautified in their heart, they have their other symptoms. And a person who's not, he will, like Srila Prabhupada gives an example that the bees are attracted to the honey and the flies are attracted to stool, human excrement. So, so a person who is more like a bee, a devotional bee, he will only see nice things. And a person who is not, who is materially diseased, contaminated, we are, but it's a matter of degree. He will only, he will have, his mind will be more attracted to the stool of finding, taking pleasure and finding a good fault. He's looking for pleasure, but he's finding fault, and it's making him feel good. He's trying to. Everything we do and think is just an attempt to be happy. That's all. That's our basic motivation. So, but a person whose mind is contaminated, it is it's an is he's how do we say, influenced. It's the mode of ignorance. Trying in the mode of ignorance, it says, is miserable in the beginning and miserable in the end. Happiness in the mode of ignorance. Happiness in the mode of goodness is a little bit hard in the beginning, but turns into nectar. Happiness in the mode of passion is nectar right away, but then turns sour. You can't have how much can you have? And then before you become disgusted, no matter what it is. And then happiness in the mode of ignorance is miserable in the beginning and miserable in the end, makes more misery. So a person is being angry with somebody and thinking, finding what's wrong with them, what's the fault with them. He's already miserable, not happy, and it's creating more misery in his heart. So, but aside from all of that, actually, I read this morning, Srila Prabhupada said, we have this initiation ceremony. He says, I give my finishing touch. Now you have a ceremony. Just like just like two people get married. So they have a ceremony. Now, the ceremony, what is going between these two people? Actually, it's the love that they have for each other, ideally. And ceremony or no ceremony, that love is there. But the ceremony is just it's sort of making it official. But it's not the essence of the relationship. That feeling of on the part of the man and the woman for each other, that's there with or without the relationship. So this ceremony that is done by the Ritvik, like Srila Prabhupada said, he met his spiritual master in 1922, and he was initiated, I think, 1820, no, 1922, and he was initiated formally, had the ceremony, 1932-33, like that. He said, but the real initiation was his heartfelt relationship with Srila Prabhupada, it's not the ceremony. It's the heart. As I said in the class, in the 10th canto, I can't give you the number, but I can look it up for you if you want, that Srila Prabhupada says the initiation means the beginning of a heart-to-heart relationship between ourselves and Srila Prabhupada. That's what the initiation is. Now, this Ritvik man sitting there with the sticks and the fire and making some mantras, he can't give us that heart to heart. He can only do the ceremony, just like you go to the church or you go to the city hall and they do a ceremony or give you a piece of paper. He can't make love between the man and the woman. He can only give you some kind of ceremony. So the ceremony is not the essential aspect that connects you to Srila Prabhupada. The ceremony is not the essential aspect that connects me with Srila Prabhupada. Ceremony, no ceremony. Do you know that Srila Vishwanath Thakur, he never met Narottam Das Thakur. He lived 100 years after Narottam Das Thakur, but he became the disciple of Narottam Das Thakur. 100 years after Narottam Das Thakur but he's one of the acharyas. He's one of the great. Srila Prabhupada refers to Vishwanath Chakravarti, his different books on the science of Krishna. But he had that relationship within his heart. He had that relationship that was stronger than time, stronger than place. He couldn't even never see Narottam Das Thakur. But he opened his heart and he received from Narottam Das Thakur the power to write so many books for us. So this is nice that these boys, they're doing this, what you call, what's the name of that ceremony? Ritvik.
Officiating Acharya, yeah. Officiating on behalf of Srila Prabhupada.
Means he's a priest. He's doing a ceremony. He can't connect you with Srila Prabhupada. He's saying he hasn't got the power to do that. He can only make a ceremony that now you're taking some vows, and that's very nice. But the rest is between you and Srila Prabhupada. It's not that now you have the ceremony, now all of a sudden you're going to Krishna Loka. Why does a man and wife, do they need the priest's sanction to be man and wife? Does that make them closer together? What makes them closer together? It's the love that they share. It's not the priest that makes their marriage nice. It's not the Ritvik man that makes our marriage with Srila Prabhupada nice. That's between us and Srila Prabhupada. But it's making an official statement. Okay, I say to the world, I am now a Prabhupada disciple, I accept Srila Prabhupada. It's a statement between me and Srila Prabhupada. It's a statement by me to the whole world that I'm accepting Srila Prabhupada as my husband. I'll try and be in the position of his wife, so to speak. That what is the relationship of wife to husband? She's a servant of her husband. So we're on the female end, all of us, and Srila Prabhupada's in the male end. And we're getting married to him. And the Ritvik man, he's the priest. But he's not going to make the relationship nice. So, so the fact that they're a little envious of each other, that's all right. We that's their business and their problem, and they know, or they should know, that it's not good for them. But meanwhile, just like a man may go to the city hall in the city that he lives in and get a marriage certificate or a marriage license. The man who's giving the license, what he's doing in his part when he's not at work, he may be doing all kinds of, but the license is good. He may be a rascal when he's not at work, but the license is good. It won't hurt. So what we want to take the best of the whole thing. Let's just accept the ceremony and do it in a nice way, and take advantage of the fact that he's being Ritvik. To be Ritvik, if he thinks that now you're my disciple, then he's no different from an ISKCON guru. He's not there to make you you should become his disciple or follow him anywhere. He's there as an official priest, and he's doing his job. Does that make sense?
Yes, you believe in Ritvik initiation?
Yes, why not?
So Prabhupada, when Prabhupada said that should be Ritvik initiation, you were there?
I was there before any of those rascals came on the scene. I was there 1960. I was there in 1968 when Srila Prabhupada accepted me as his disciple. Then in 1977, people wanted to be guru. That was what, 68, 70, that some 9 years after Srila Prabhupada accepted me. And then at that time he said, now you become Ritvik. And they said, oh, now let us become full-fledged guru. Let's take Srila Prabhupada off the Vyasasan. We can sit there. Let people wash our feet with milk and honey and drink it. All of them. They should be killed. They will be killed. Krishna will deal with them. The offense that they're doing to Srila Prabhupada is the biggest. I read in Chaitanya Bhagavat, it's 1,000 times greater than offending Krishna, to offend Krishna's pure devotee. So Srila Prabhupada said, now you become a priest and you marry people, but you don't accept them as your disciple. He's marrying you, he's making a marriage between you and Srila Prabhupada.
Well, were you there when this got sanctioned by Srila Prabhupada? When Prabhupada said, you go ahead and give initiation on behalf of me, Ritvik initiation, were you there?
Yeah, I was there 10 years before that.
You saw this happening? You heard this with your own ears?
I wasn't in the room, but I saw the letter. There's a letter. These boys will do this ceremony on my behalf, and I will be the spiritual master. How can they be spiritual master? They don't know Krishna. How can they connect you with Krishna?
Ishan Prabhu, maybe you can talk about Hamsaduta Swami. I had a personal conversation with him when he was here in Berkeley, where he admitted to the whole hoax of being a so-called successor to Srila Prabhupada. And this is the history of ISKCON. There's no Ishan Prabhu was there in '68. He's still here. He went through the whole thing, and he's giving the whole story of how these men who were motivated to replace Srila Prabhupada, some of them were there from the very beginning. So, like Kirtanananda, Keith Ham, and this finally manifested in its full effect, 1977. And they also
He
kicked out all the God brothers who protested. So that's also a sign of.
not only kicked out, he killed.
Oh yes, Sulochon. Yes, that's.
There are other bodies buried in New Vrindavan. This is the kind of monster that Kirtanananda was. Monster. And if you read Sulochan's book called The Guru Business, you'll see he takes letters, because they have all of Srila Prabhupada's letters, time after time after time after time, that Kirtanananda disobeyed Srila Prabhupada, tried to change things while Srila Prabhupada was still here, tried to take the role of Guru, tried to do so many things, because he wanted to be Guru. He wanted to be. But Srila Prabhupada engaged these men, just like if a man has a business and he needs strong people to help him with his business. He needs an accountant on his team. He needs a lawyer on his team. He needs a public relations officer on his team. He needs salesmen on his team. He needs all of that to make his organization go. So he takes very strong men to build his organization. Just like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says that now Srila Prabhupada had a mission to accomplish. His mission was to spread these literatures that all over the world. So he needed a team. He needed temple presidents. He needed a book distribution army. An army of book distributors, and he needed temple presidents over them, and he needed GBCs over them. And what does Srila Bhaktisiddhanta say? He writes, I have it in my book, on my shelf. Forming an institution is a necessary evil. If you want to spread a spiritual movement, you have to make an institution like the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON. You make an institution to do the job. And why is it an evil? Because you're taking in all of these conditioned souls who want to be big shots, and you're engaging those big shots in doing the job. So it's a price you have to pay. And then those big shots, they offend the pure devotee, and then they go to hell, but the job is done. Just like Jayatirtha. He was one of the 11 who became the first ones who want to become a guru, and he was offering LSD on the altar and having sex with the wives of other people who were following him. And so what happened? One of his disciples cut his head off, literally. That's what happened to Jayatirtha. That's Krishna's hand. You offend the pure devotee, Krishna will cut your head off. The Tamal Krishna, he was torn apart in an automobile accident. One by one, these people are all going to hell. So, but this is the nature of it. This is because this is the material world. And Kirtanananda always, always, always doing things that Srila Prabhupada didn't want. But he used him because Kirtanananda wanted to be a big man. He said, good, develop this new Vrindavan. Good, do this. You want to be Gopal Krishna? He's a MBA. He from a graduate from a university in France. Big man. All of these boys, they Bhagawan, he was being educated to be a medical doctor. All of these people, they became appointed by Srila Prabhupada to be Ritvik, but they didn't, wasn't enough. They wanted to be worshipped and to take their own disciples and push Srila Prabhupada aside. There, this is demonic. But I don't know if I'm addressing your actual question. The question, it's okay that these Ritviks they're acting like a priest simply to make a ceremony to connect us with Srila Prabhupada.
Bless the ISKCON devotees and the sadhus and swamis there. I mean, 24 hours is kind of tiring, you know. So, like, once in a while they do it, okay, and they're doing it, they're saying they're telling the truth, but they all the time, like in the Bhagavatam class, in the Chaitanya Chaitanya class, they bring this up and they connect with ISKCON sadhus, swamis, gurus. If they're bogus, they're claiming. Let them be bogus now. Why you have to talk about it 24 hours? So is that enviousness? Holding a grudge, holding anger towards them. Why can't let it go and concentrate on the class and Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Chaitanya just going on?
Ramchandra, can you paraphrase what
She's okay. Yes. So she's asking that there's various groups of Ritviks, senior Prabhupada men who are preaching, and they're always criticizing the unofficial, the so-called official gurus of ISKCON. They bring it up every time in the classes, and why can't they focus on the positive aspect of Krishna consciousness? Meaning that, okay, maybe you talk about it, once every few weeks, or you give an example, but don't make the whole class about, or run around saying that these guys are bogus, they're
I
doing this, doing that.
understand. Well, and the first thing that comes to mind is that I didn't talk about it, but you asked the question. But so but the idea, just let me say one thing. It's important that people understand, because I don't know if there are hundreds or maybe thousands of disciples of these ISKCON gurus, maybe thousands now, okay? So, but those ISKCON gurus can't help their disciples because they're not qualified to connect anyone with Krishna because they're not connected with Krishna. So it's very important that it's obvious that people are easily misled and they're following these men. So then, for that reason, maybe they're making this, stressing on this point. But we mention it, but we're trying to put more emphasis on the fact that there's two ways of saying the same thing. If I say you need a relationship with a pure devotee to approach Krishna, that's a positive way to say that you shouldn't be having a relationship with somebody who doesn't have a relationship with. They're saying the same thing, but both ways of saying, but one is positive and one is negative. So we should do more of the positive, but it's necessary also to express it in a negative and explain why. Even from what my understanding is, even those who call themselves Prabhupada Nuga, they don't understand actually the science whereby we actually have to have a living relationship with Srila Prabhupada. They actually tell us, because I lived in temples for 10 years, they tell us that if we just do all the prescribed practices, one day we'll have some realization. So they don't even understand, even those who are saying they're Prabhupada Nuga, they don't understand the science of a relationship with a pure devotee. But, but Srila Prabhupada writes, he doesn't expect. He writes in his preface to Bhagavad Gita that if one person even becomes a real devotee, it's right in the last sentence of the preface of if one person, he says, becomes a pure devotee, he'll consider his whole effort, preaching effort, to be a success. In other words, he knows what he's dealing with. We're from this material world. We don't even understand the philosophy. We have desires to become a guru. We have desires to have our cake and eat it. We want to, like Srila Prabhupada said, I have things that I've copied onto my computer, cut and paste. And Srila Prabhupada says, any man he keeps long hair and a beard, he's not my disciple. You go on Facebook, you see all these people with Krishna conscious names. They all have beards, they have hair, and they consider themselves Srila Prabhupada's disciples. So very few people, it's just like, why does Srila Prabhupada say to have a spiritual master is not a fad, that it's a nice thing to do? He said, you have to become really obedient. They can't even shave their head or their beard, and they think they're Srila Prabhupada's disciple. If they cared about what Srila Prabhupada thinks, they wouldn't even dare to appear before him like that. But because they don't understand that Srila Prabhupada, that they can have a personal relationship with him, so they don't, very few. So Srila Prabhupada says, so that's what we're dealing with. Very, very few people will go back back to Godhead in this lifetime. And Srila Prabhupada says, if he has one disciple who did that, he'll think he did a good job. So this is what we're dealing with. There's just people. So what if he's a Ritvik or a Schmidtvik or whatever? These are just people like you and me. Nothing special. There are no senior devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement. There's only one senior devotee in the Krishna consciousness movement, and that's Srila Prabhupada. That's my understanding, and that's my conviction.
Right. Okay. Vinay, Prabhu, you have any questions, comments? He's also hearing. So we have
Sure.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
How are you, Prabhu? Fine.
What is the question? Not about me, about Krishna consciousness.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So, how to keep engage in chanting? So about the chanting. So, we'll chant 16 rounds, 2 hours, or like break 5 rounds, 10 rounds, 3 rounds, 2 rounds.
Ramchandra, can you translate?
He's saying how to chant 16 rounds. Should we chant 16 rounds straight in one sitting or take a break and chant? He's asking a general question. I think that's pretty much answered in reading Prabhupada's books.
Okay.
However,
You say, Ramchandra. You
well,
say.
if you can chant Hare Krishna sitting down 16 rounds, that is what Prabhupada, I think, what he set as the standard. But if you cannot chant, then if you have taken a vow, you should chant your 16 rounds. Prabhupada gives an example of how he used to chant when he was a Grihastha. He said he used to chant 4 rounds like this, that he made the 16 rounds up. So it's according to the person's situation they are in. Like when I was a security officer, I used to chant in my car when I used to work. So it's common sense. You got to do your 16 rounds very nicely, and there's a mood on how you should do it, and get it done. Is Vinay still here? Yes, he is. Okay. Anything else, Vinay, regarding the class?
Yeah, the class was very nice, Prabhu.
Okay.
It was very valuable, very nice.
What did you like about it?
Yes, about the examples about the proper teachings, what you bring about this in class, everything was nice.
Well, I'm just trying, we're all, you're listening, I'm talking, but we're all more or less on the same platform. You understand? I'm just trying to present my understanding of what Srila Prabhupada's saying and what he wants from us or what he wants for us.
Mm.
He wants us to become happy in Krishna consciousness. Yeah.
Right.
I can't chant 16 rounds in 2 hours. It takes me at least 10 minutes to do a round. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare. Takes me 10, 12 minutes to do one
Mm.
round. So it'd take me almost 3 hours to chant my rounds. But, I try to get up early and chant in the morning before the day begins. Once the day begins, then it becomes so many things to, we're in the material world. We have to maintain the house, the laundry, the cooking, the cleaning, the paying bills, running to the store, running back, fixing something, repairing something, telephones ringing, emails are coming, and then all of a sudden the day is finished. So I try to do as much as I can early in the morning. And then maybe I have a few left, and then I have to say, oh, it's already 6 o'clock at night. I better stop and do my round.
Right.
But the quality is more important than the quantity.
Mm. Try. Okay, so we've been here now about an hour and 42 minutes.
Woo!
Um, so let's continue our discussion next week. Thank you, Ishan Prabhu. Vinay Prabhu, if you have any questions, reach out to Ishan Prabhu via email. He's willing to
So
communicate
I
over
was
there.
trying to reach by call, but
Email him.
oh, it's unable to reach in call.
Ishan Prabhu, do you want to answer that?
What's that? What's that?
I'm trying to reach by phone, WhatsApp
No,
call,
no.
but unable to reach you, Prabhu.
You like to have conversation. You have a question. I wrote to you. I told you. You write me. I'll try to answer you nicely. But I haven't got time for socializing. You
Okay,
want to be,
Prabhu.
yeah, you want to be friends, but I don't have I had too much to deal with. It's
Okay.
yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Okay. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai
Okay.
Prabhus. Okay, Ishan Prabhu, thank you very much. Vinay Prabhu. We had
Thank you.
Janaspriya Prabhu. So we'll see everyone next week. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you.
Is